Hello and welcome back to the Garian Tabletop and the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign. First of all, apologies, it's been like a couple of months since the last one of these. I really struggled to find the time to play this battle because of how big it is. Particularly with December being very busy. This is a 2,500 point match, which is the largest one in the campaign so far, and the third and final match of round 3. This pits the armies of the Empire versus the Vampire Count, specifically armies headed up by Volkmar the Grim and Mannfred von Karstein himself, the leader of the Sylvanian faction. This battle is taking place in a fairly wooded area with a haunted tower and a mist-wreathed swamp, and the rest are all mysterious woods which I will roll the first time a unit enters or deploys in them. But let's have a look at our two massive armies. On the Vampire Count side, we have Mannfred himself, who is on foot in a big unit of warriors. There are 2 units of skeleton warriors, a massive unit of Graveguard with Yuri von Karstein, who is the only other vampire and the only other character in the army, a tiny unit of Cairn Wraiths, which are fantastic, I believe, some dire wolves to outride, and a Terrorgeist. Mannfred is the Lore Master, which means he has all of the spells of both death and vampires, or vampires and death, and Yuri is also using the Lore of Vampires. And over on the Empire side, they are not pulling any punches. They know the threat that Mannfred poses, so Volkmar the Grim, the Grand Theogonist himself, has come out on a war altar of Sigmar in order to face him. He is supported by 4 other characters. 2 war priests, Priest Kraft and Priest Hemo, General Raben Loeb, and a captain who's also the standard bearer, Captain Lambert Schmid. They are supported by a big unit of Knights of the Blazing Sun, a massive unit of spearmen, swordsmen, crossbows, handgunners, 3 Demigryph Knights, a mortar, and a Hellblaster volley gun. Like I said, they are pulling no punches. And the general is Volkmar the Grim, and there is actually no real spellcasting, there's just the priests, and I believe the altar can cast a couple of spells as well. So I will just quickly say apologies if I'm a bit out of practice, it has been a couple of months since I last played. But now we will roll off to see who picks the board edge, with red being the Empire and blue being the Vampires. And it is red being the Empire, so there is not a lot in it. I think they will take this side, both because that's the side they're on, and it has slightly more cover, assuming the mysterious woods don't end up being really bad. So the mist-wreathed swamp, let's struggle with that, is hard cover if the majority is in it, but they may lose d6 models each turn. The haunted tower in the middle, at the end of each shooting phase, all units within 6 inches suffer d6 strength 1 hits, and a unit garrisoning it causes fear, which is worthless to these guys, they all cause fear anyway, but a unit holding it would also cause fear. I think I'll then roll off to see which side deploys first, and it is red, so the Empire again. But before I do any deployment, I will roll these spells. And like I said, Mannfred is the lore master of both vampires and death, which means he doesn't need to roll, he just knows all 6 spells and the signature of each. Yuri, however, is a 2nd level wizard, so he gets 2, and normally you can't share the same spells with another one in the same army, but because Mannfred didn't choose his spells, he is effectively ignored for Yuri's spells. So the first one is Hellish Vigor. Reroll to wound, that's pretty good, I'll take that one. And pretty much whatever the second one is, it will be replaced with Invocation of Nehek, but just in case, it's Hellish Vigor anyway, so alright. Yeah, it's going to be Invocation of Nehek because you frankly need them. And on the Empire side, the War Altar can cast Banishment, and that's the only spell it can cast, so it has the Exorcism rule. First unit, let's go with the massive unit of Spearmen that also has Priest Hemo in it. That will go right here next to these woods. And I think I'm actually going to deploy the Graveguard with Yuri directly opposite, using these woods as cover. So they're planning to march down there in between these two things to have the hardest hitting unit protected on both sides from flanking. Sorry, I did forget to deploy the crossbows, which are the detachment for the spearmen. So they are going into these mysterious woods, so I need to roll for that now. It is 4, a fungus forest, which means that any unit at least partially inside is subject to stupidity. That's bad for them. I think next is the swordsmen who have the handgunners. They are going to go on this side. Yeah, they're going to go there. That gives them a bit of flexibility whether they go that way or that way. And the handgunners... where on earth am I going to put the handgunners? Alright, change of plan. They're going to move over to give space for the handgunners to go here. However, that means they are also liable to be stupid, but they should have a decent enough leadership because they're going to be within range of their regiment unit. I'm just going to swap these rounds so Mannfred is at this end because his big unit is going to be the next to deploy here, I think, in these woods. Is that where I want him to be? Yeah, I think it is. So I need to roll for those woods. And the result is 1, a normal forest. I probably should have left space somewhere for Volkmar. Alright, if Mannfred's going to be up here, then I'll put Volkmar there as... Oh no, he's a character, he goes at the end. Right, but I'm going to have to leave space for Volkmar there. Let's go with... I'm going to have to put the knights in next so that they have room to move and without going through woods, but that's not good terrain for them, is it? Maybe I should have put them here instead. Charge through the open space. But yes, they will go there. And likewise, I'm going to swap them round so that Lambert with the banner is as close to the majority of the army as possible. The skeleton warriors, the other skeleton warriors, are going to go all the way down here to try and block off anything coming through this way. The demogryphs are going to go up here, leaving space for Volkmar. The direwolves are going to go on this far flank. They have vanguard, which means they'll get to move at the start, but that's another woods that we're going to discover. And this one is 6, a wild wood. Roll for any unit partially within at the end of the movement phase, and on a 4+, they suffer d6 strength for hits. Going to want to move out of that as soon as possible, but being in the corner isn't really not going to see much use, is it? Then Volkmar, and you'll notice he's got 2 rings around him. The blue one is the Inspiring Presence, and the green one is the War Altars thing, which gives all units within 6 inches hatred, compared to just the unit they're in. I'll have the Cairn Wraiths off on this side, I think. And then the War Machines are deployed all together. So let's have the Mortar behind there, which I believe means they can blind fire. And the Hellblaster, I maybe should have left space for this, but I will put it up here, intending for the way to be cleared when the Demogryphs move, because they're pretty fast. And then the final deployment is the Terrorgeist, which I will put there because it can fly. And that is all the deployment. And the Empire technically did deploy first, finished deploying first, so they get +1 to their roll for the turn. It would be double 1, but the Empire increases that to a 2, so they will choose to go second, because they want to do some shooting, and they know that they're going to be out of range in this first turn, but they might not be if the Vampire Counts move first. So, Sylvania Turn 1. But before we do that, we have the Direwolves, who have Vanguard, which means they can move 12 inches, and it's actually going to get them out of those woods immediately, and I'm going to pivot them a bit. So I'm going to... it's 12 inches, so I'm going to move them 4 forwards, rotate 1, because it wouldn't actually clip because there's nothing there, so that's 5, and then they move into these woods, which are another mysterious, so roll for that. Another wild wood. Oh, okay, well that's funny. They have 5 more inches, and they're just going to go directly forwards. Yeah. They ran out of wild woods and into wild woods. So back to the first turn. There will be no charges because nothing is in range, and the dire wolves can't charge on the turn that they vanguard. The wraiths and banshee are going to move 6 inches. Mannfred's unit are going to move 4. Yuri's are going to move 4, and the others are going to move 4. Terrorgeist is going to move up behind this thing, all 6 on foot, although he can fly, so I'll move him a little bit further forward, and I'll leave him like that, because he doesn't need to rotate, so he should be out of sight of the ranged units. And then the direwolves are going to, I kind of want to get them out of the woods, but they're going to be in charge range otherwise. I think I'm just going to have to position them like that, so that if they do get charged by the knights are going to be charging into the woods, and they're not going to be able to get out, so they're just going to have to chance the wildwood damage. Speaking of which, a d6 on a 4+, they suffer d6 strength 4 hits, which they do, so they suffer 2 strength 4 hits. Wounds on a 3+, 1 wound. So the first casualty is to the woods. On to the magic phase, and Mannfred has some control in this. So first of all, 7. Due to having Master of the Black Arts, a vampire ability, he can re-roll one of the dice. So I'll re-roll the 2 to get a 3 instead, slight increase. And these are the most spells I've ever had to choose between in a single turn, so give me a minute. I think Mannfred will open with a Raise Dead, which is a 9 to cast to create a unit of zombies. Pretty much everything else he can do is out of range, so I'm going to use 5 dice to pretty much guarantee it goes through. It is not irresistible, but that is a 24 plus he's a 4th level, so a 28. Empire's going to use all 5 dice to try and dispel, and 22, and technically there are no wizards, so they can't add any wizard levels to it, so that is not enough, meaning Mannfred summons d6 plus 3 zombies anywhere within 18 inches. So he summons a whopping 8. So a unit of 8 zombies is going to appear right here, which I believe is... Yep, that's easily within 18 inches. So they're going to appear there as a nice little block. Actually, I'm going to move them this way a bit so that they are within 6 inches of Yuri, because it's now his turn to cast, and he is going to use Invocation of Nehek. It's a 6 to cast. He's only going to use 2 dice. He's a level 2 wizard. He succeeds. So the zombies increase by normally d6 plus 2 because he's a 2nd level wizard. However, because of newly dead, they actually increase by an additional d6, so it is 2d6 plus 2. So they increase by 8 more, so they double in size. So I didn't actually give them a big enough base. Big enough movement tray. I didn't expect them to get that big. And that is why I went for zombies, because they can be further increased, and they just basically just free zombies. I mean, they're not worth many points anyway, and you don't actually get any points for killing them, but they are a great blockade that is now just a threat in the way. That's it for magic, and I do actually have 2 shooting units, basically the only 2 shooting units in the Vampire Count's army, the Terrorgeist and the Banshee, but they both have like a range of 8, so they're definitely out of range. And with no melee, we go into the Empire turn. I think I'm going to start off with a charge, and the Blazing Knights are going to take on the Direwolves. So they are 13 inches, they have movement of 8, which means they need 10 on 2 dice, but they have Swift Stride, so they roll 3. Sorry, did I say 10? I meant 5. Yes, they got it. So they can move into charge. However, I believe, is that just 1? Oh no, it's Lambert and an ordinary knight both have to test for dangerous terrain. Testing Lambert, he's fine. Testing the knight, he is not fine. He does actually die, so there's the musician. I'll just take it from the back. Again, our first death, the same woods, weirdly. That'll be the only charge, but oh yes, I need to test for stupidity, and this was actually before they moved. So they were, what, here? If I recall correctly, they were just within. So the reason that's important is Lambert is the battle standard bearer, meaning any failed leadership tests within range can be re-rolled, and stupidity is a leadership test. So the handgunners and the crossbows both need to test for stupidity, but they also both use their detachments, their regimental units' leadership, which in both cases is a warrior priest at 8. Handgunners first. They fail, but they do get the reroll. And they... Is that a fail? I can't remember. Sorry, I said I was out of practice. Equal to or less, so yes, they got 8, so they pass. And the crossbows, also testing on an 8, also pass. Why is one guy missing here? Did I accidentally... I may have accidentally highlighted a second one when I was deleting the first. It happens. No idea why that one random guy was missing. Sorry about that. Oh no, because I just moved him. No idea. I didn't delete, did I? I don't know why that guy was missing. He wasn't always missing, I don't think. I'm confused. Let's just move on. No more charges, but I will be moving a lot forwards. So 4 inches here. Volkmar can move 8, but he's just going to move 4 as well. The demogryphs are also going to move up. I don't know how to handle the banshees and stuff because they're ethereal, which means they can only be damaged by magic and magic weapons and stuff, which I don't believe the demogryphs have. So it would need to be Volkmar for that. So maybe actually keep them back a bit, try and invite them to charge Volkmar, move him forward a smidge more. That said, Banishment, the one spell he can cast, has a range of 24, so they are within range of that, so I'll try that on them. Swordsman unit is going to move forward a bit, like so, aiming to go around that and charge the skeletons. But that's not what I should be doing, is it? Sorry, I've just remembered this. I've remembered the lessons I learned. I have this instinct in this game to just surge forwards with everything, but that's not the smart way to play, because we have ranged and they don't. So actually, I'm just going to pull everything back again. So things have moved forward a little. The range stuff hasn't moved at all, and I'm still going to go through with that charge. But yeah, there's no point surging forward when they can't shoot me, and I can shoot them. Into the magic phase, although this will not be particularly busy, as they are all combat-related battle prayers. So that's 10 and 5. It's a pretty powerful magic phase. But the only thing I'm really going to cast is Banishment from the War Altar, which is a bound spell level 4, meaning I only need a 4 to cast it. But I feel like I'm going to need to use more than that in order to get the spell through. I think I'm going to have to go with a 6 because he's got a +4 to dispelling because he's a 4th level. So yes, Banishment, 24 inches against the Cairn Wraiths is definitely within range. This should be pretty devastating if I can get the spell through, and it's irresistible. Oh no. Okay, I just had a look to see how bound spell miscasts work, because I thought they worked a certain way, but I think I got it wrong in a previous one. Basically, it depends on the nature of the bound spell. So if it's within an item, like if you have a staff that lets you cast a certain spell, and you get a miscast, the item is destroyed, you can't use it again. If it's an innate thing, like with the... because it's actually the griffin that's casting the spell, the griffin on top of the War Altar. It is an innate thing and not an item that's sort of purchased for it, so it just means it can't cast further bound spells this phase, which it couldn't anyway, it's only got the one, and you do not roll miscast. So that's why bound spells are a more stable, safer form of magic. So the spell still goes through with irresistible, and that's the only effect, really. There is no downside to it now. Banishment causes 2d6 strength 4 hits, which is 11. Oh, that's really bad for the Cairn Wraiths. 11 hits, and it is 6 wounds. They do actually have 2 wounds each, but they get no kind of save against this. So that is 3 Wraiths gone, leaving just the Banshee and a single Wraith. Because the thing with Ethereal is they're a bit of a... sort of a bit of a glass cannon in a way. Like, if there's something that can't fight them, they are devastating. If there's something that can fight them, they're usually so expensive and few in number that they can just get shredded. So, like, if I deployed them down at this end, it would basically, the only chance the Empire would have of killing them would be if they just overwhelm them with numbers, or if one of the characters had a magic weapon, which they don't know about. Whereas up here, because I deployed them in front of the only thing that could do a magic spell at range, they just got decimated. So that was a big mistake on my part, or on Mannfred's part, for deploying them there. I really should have had it the other way around, where I had the direwolves up here and the cairn wraiths down there, but they still don't do amazingly against big units, because they do get sort of overwhelmed by combat resolution. Shooting, can this thing see? I'd say it can, because these guys are irrelevant. Oh, didn't mean to move that. I'd say that can draw line of sight to that unit. Oh, I mean, I tend to sort of be a bit restrictive over like shooting past allies and shooting between allies, particularly with something like this where it's like a volley gun. But I'd say they're close enough. You know, like I might have issue if it was like picking a shot between like a unit here and a unit here and had to sort of snipe between them. But something like this, you know, they can be fairly confident they're not going to shoot at their own people by shooting past. And the volley gun is like my favourite artillery in the game, pretty much. Roll 3 artillery dice to determine the number of shots fired. It is 18. Oh, it's only a range of 24. Oh, never mind, they're actually out of range. That's a shame. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even think to check range before rolling. It's because they're slightly further back. Never mind. 18 shots just wasted. The crossbows with a range of 30 are going to ignore the zombies and try and shoot at Yuri's unit. And I believe all of them have line of sight past the zombies. That one does, and that one does. Ooh. Yeah, that one does. So yes, all 10 crossbows are going to shoot at the Graveguard. They are at long range, so only 0. Wow. 0 hits. The handgunners don't have a line on Yuri's unit, but they do have a line on the skeletons, and with their range of 24, they are all within range. So the... Oh, actually, the back ones might not be. Oh no, the back ones are. So yes, handgunners are going to shoot at these skeletons, again ignoring the zombies. And they get 2 hits. These are pretty much going to be any kills, so 2 wounds. High strength and armor piercing means no saves, so 2 wounds. The first legitimate wounds caused by one army against the other. Oh no, I forgot the cam rates, never mind. And the mortar, I looked it up, turns out cannot blind fire, which I think is a bit of a failing. That's sort of the point of mortars in my mind, but can't see through there. Arguably could see through there, but it goes over 2 bases and through a wood, so I'm going to say no, the mortar can't fire. So that's what? 1 major tactical failing on each side so far, so at least it's fair. And with all the shooting done, we go into the only combat, and that is the knights against the direwolves. Raben Loeb will challenge the direwolf champion, which seems a bit weird in context, but I will go with it. Oh, but before we do that, we have cavalry impact. So to remind you, this is my homebrew rule to make cavalry decent, which is they all have impact hits 1, and you add the rank bonus to the strength of the hit. So they get +2 for having 2 additional full ranks, and this is on to the strength of the mount, giving it a strength 5. So that is 5 impact hits against the unit. They don't have a particularly high toughness, so that is 5 wounds with no saves of any kind. Whole back rank is gone. Oh, sorry, I forgot the Wildwood. Each unit, so both of these units do need to test for the Wildwood on a 4+. Knights first. They are fine, and the wolves, they are also fine. And the direwolves, like all vampire counts, have fear, which means the Empire need to take a leadership test on Loeb's 9 with a reroll if they need it, which they don't. Anyway, back to Loeb's challenge. He actually has a lance, so he has +2 strength on the charge, 2 hits. Oh, only 1 wound, that's unfortunate, but it is definitely a wound. They, like I said, have no saves. So that is the Doomwolf gone. Next is the Captain. 1 hit. He also has a lance. 1 wound. And the other 3, including the Champion and all 5 horses, strike at the same time as the Wolves. I will do the Wolves first, as they're quite likely to be wiped out. So they have 6 attacks, and they're going to go against the body of the unit. Only 2 hits. 1 wound, 2+ armor. Yeah, he's fine. 9 attacks, and all of them have lances. So any of these are pretty much wounds. That is abysmal. Wow. 5 ones. Still, that's 4 wounds. And then 4 horses, because Loeb's was in the challenge. Only 1 hit. No wound. Miraculously, 2 wolves survive. But, yeah, they've lost the fight because they get an extra 2, so they've lost the fight by 14. And because they are unstable, that means they take an additional 14 wounds. So yeah, that's the dire wolves gone completely. They're pretty devastating on a charge, those knights, and they will restrain. They won't overrun because doing so would injure them with this. So they're instead just going to reform. Oh, where are they going to go? No, they're gonna continue on through this if they can, and just sort of try and move around there. I don't know that they can, because of the too longer unit. So I guess instead they're going to just turn that way and slowly trot through the woods. That seems like a bad idea, but that's the best one they've got. That way, they're planning to trot through to about here, reform, and then move out. So they don't want to charge out of the woods. On to Sylvania Turn 2. I don't think I will charge. I considered charging like the Blazing Knights with the Terrorgeist and try and wipe them out, but it's a big unit, and I don't know how good he is in a fight like that. He couldn't Thunderstomp them, so probably best not to. So instead I'm just going to move. So they move up 3 inches, and they're not worried about the Wildwood, both because they are undead and have no fear, but also there are so many that it really doesn't matter if a few of them fall to it. Yeah, the zombies are just going to move up, with Yuri's unit following close behind. Mannfred's unit keeping pace, and these are going to move forward the 6 inches that they can. Oh, at the end of the shooting phase, all units within 6 inches. Sorry, I missed that. So the shooting phase comes after magic, so the zombies would have been hit by the Haunting Tower, as would the Terrorgeist. Would he as well? 4 inches, I think that puts him just outside Yuri's unit. But yes, the Terrorgeist and the zombies are definitely within range, so they both get hit by the Haunting Tower. Twice, actually, because it's at the end of the shooting phase, so it's each shooting phase, I assume. So both the zombies and the Terrorgeist take 2d6 strength 1 hits. Zombies take 6. Surprising 2 wounds. They get no saves of any kind. The Terrorgeist takes 10, but very, very unlikely any of these will hurt. 2 wounds. Oh, then again, it's only a 6+ regeneration. I can't believe the Terrorgeist takes 2 wounds from that. That is genuinely shocking to me. The Terrorgeist, oh my god, the Terrorgeist just got wounded by a spooky tower. It's a Terrorgeist. This is where it lives. Magic phase. And Mannfred can re-roll one of these if he wants to, but he doesn't because he got a 12. This is going to be a big magic phase, assuming he doesn't immediately die to a miscast. Let's start off with Yuri casting Invocation of Nehek. Just ordinary one on needs a 6 to pass. He's just going to use 2 dice. And, ooh, yes. It's not that any one you roll, it's that if you get a total of 1 or 2. So that is a pass. They're not going to dispel it, because all it's doing is bolstering the zombies and slightly healing the Terrorgeist. But, Yeah, they fear what's coming next. So the Terrorgeist regains 1. It can never gain more than 1 because it is a large target. And the zombies gain 2d6 plus 2 again. So they gain 14. To remind you, this unit didn't exist at the beginning of the game. This was made by Mannfred, and it's just been bolstered by Yuri. Yeah, now that's an anvil. That's an anvil that is about to collide with them, or get in the way. Mannfred is going to cast Curse of Years. Range of 18. He's going to cast it on the Spearman. And if he's going to use 4 dice and it needs a 12. And if this gets through, could be devastating. So plus 4 to the roll, he gets total of 18. The question is, are they going to try and dispel it? Because he only used 4, meaning he still has a full 6 dice for something that is going to be very, very mean. They know it's coming, it's just whether they think he'll manage it or whether this is a better bet. And because it's most likely going to be a vortex, they know he's got 2 vortexes that he could use. So a vortex might not reach them and it might hurt him. So this is only a 6 chance, but it remains in play. I think the vortex has a lower chance of hurting, but this is definitely going to kill at least a handful, and because of the remains in play, it's going to keep killing them. So I think he's going to try and dispel this. He's going to use all 6 dice, and they succeed in dispelling Curse of Years. Okay, well, they are now at the mercy of whatever it is Mannfred wishes to do to them now. And I think it has to be the Purple Sun of Zerus, because, yeah, I think it's got to be an upcast Purple Sun, because this is just such a good chance to use it, and he can, and he has it, and he's got all of his dice, and they've got none, and this is his best chance of pulling this off at an upcast, which is a 25. It's just, is it worth upcasting for an additional 10? I mean, he's got a plus 4 to the roll, so he needs to roll 21 on 6 dice without getting a miscast. I'm going to roll it. And it's a miscast. No, but it's irresistible. So he does successfully cast the Purple Sun of Zerus, one of the most damaging, painful spells in the game, but he does also miscast. So the way this works is I roll an artillery dice and it goes 3 times that distance. Oh, 30. And he's going to aim it so that it hits both Volkmar and the Spearman. So it's going to go straight this way. 30 actually takes it off the board. Okay, well, how many did that hit? I'm going to say it hits that hole, because he can control it sort of exactly, so he can just go this way, so it hits as many as possible. So it hits Volkmar and these 4 columns, and then goes off the board and is gone, instead of hanging around. The reason this is such a damaging spell is each model has to take an initiative test or be slain. Just gone. No saves, nothing. Just the dark sun itself moves through and kills things that don't get out the way. So before we work out what happens with Volkmar, whether the Grand Theogonist is just gone, let's do these ones first. So, Hemo, initiative of 4, he is fine. There are 19 spearmen who are testing on a 3. 5 gone. Ooh, 7. Sorry, I misread it for a second. 7 spearmen. It's actually nowhere near as bad as that could have been. That's less than half. Which is, and they had a low chance, like they had a 50-50 chance and they got less than half. If he'd gone for like right through the middle of them, that would have been a lot more devastating, but he's hoping to take out Volkmar. As I understand the rules, because this is a chariot, it uses the highest initiative on the chariot, which is Volkmar with an initiative of 4. By the way, you can actually see him there. Look at how polygonal he is. So an initiative of 4, and if he fails this, he's gone. He's just gone. No saves of any kind, and he passes. So That was probably a bad casting. Like, it's one of these, it was very much a risk. Like, he could have taken out Volkmar, a character, a very powerful character, the general, the battle, the war altar and everything. But he chose to get him in the spell, or he could have taken out a load more spearmen. So maybe that was a mistake. Then again, it was a gamble. If it had worked, it would have been definitely worth it. So how can you judge? But now the miscast. So let's see what happens to Mannfred. He's got tons of wounds. 5. Calamitous detonation. Nowhere near as bad as it could have been. So that is going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 skeletons, 2 Graveguard, and himself. Now this doesn't even slightly phase him. That's 7 skeletons destroyed, 2 Graveguard, and 1 wound off Mannfred himself. But that doesn't matter to him at all because, you know, they're skeletons. They can be brought back, and he has tons of wounds left. So for a chance to kill, what's his name, Volkmar, that was worth it. Although he did kill more of his own men than he did of the enemy with that spell. Their lives, well, I mean, exist, but, you know, matter more than his do. In the shooting phase, neither thing are within range, so no combat into Empire Turn 2. I forgot to do this again, didn't I? Wildwood, both on the skeletons and on the knights. 4+ on the skeletons. Hit. D6 strength 4 hits, 5. 3 wounds. They do get a very low armor save, which they all fail. So 3 skeletons destroyed by the wood. And the knights, 4+, they are fine. Back to the Empire Turn. Oh, they're liable to be charged by the skeletons if they stay where they are. So they are going to have to move through to there. And then rotate once. And then continue moving through. They are still liable to be charged. They are within the front arc of the skeletons, and the skeletons have no reason not to charge them, even through the woods. They're going to have to march, I think, so they're going to have to try and march. To march so close to an enemy, they have to pass a leadership, which is on 9 with a reroll because of Loeb and the banner. So they pass, so they can march, but any within the thing, which is just Lambert as well. Looks like Lambert and these 2, and then the 2 at the back. Lambert, dangerous terrain, he's fine. 4 knights, they are all fine. So they get to march, they can't rotate there. They are just going to have to go directly forwards. They need to get out of the range. So they are going into another wildwood. And I believe this causes a second dangerous terrain check. Let me just double check that. Don't see anything saying it doesn't. Separate bit of terrain causes a second test. So they only need to be outside of the front arc, which they now are. So they're going to stop there. Ooh, no, all right, they're going to move a little bit further forward just to make sure that they're not in this wildwood as well, because it's even partially in. But that does mean the entire front rank need to test again. So that is Lambert, Loeb, and 3 a champion and 2 ordinaries. So Lambert, fine. Loeb, fails. Champion, fails. 2 ordinaries, pass. So Loeb takes a wound, and the champion is dead. The demogryphs I'm going to move backwards in order to give the volley gun a clear line of sight again. And I'm going to move the swordsman 2 inches this way. And that should give the... Hang on, move out of the way, guys. Should give them line of sight. Like, they can now see it, that unit over there. So, because it's a mortar, it's firing over. So I'm not going to be like, oh, they can't fire like that. So yeah, they now have line of sight. Magic. 9. And it is likely that they are going to be getting into melee next round, so they are going to cast some battle prayers. You know what I've been forgetting to do this entire bloody game is channel. I completely forgot to channel. So we've got 3 channeling on this side, Volkmar and his 2 priests, none, and 2 channeling on the vampire side. 1. I just completely forgot to channel this entire time. Sorry about that. And can I just say, like, between the previous battle and this one, I replaced my computer tower case because it had the side off, the power supply didn't fit in, it was a whole thing, and the fan started failing on it, because I've had it for a long time. But I finally replaced it, and this one is so much quieter, both because the side is on and it's like built to be quiet. It's literally the Be Quiet brand. Like, I'm really noticing it in this, because before the computer would really spin up during these battles, and it is still spinning up, but it is so much quieter, so that's great. Volkmar is going to cast Shield of Faith, and the reason he's casting it is because if it's cast by someone on the battle altar, all allies within 6 inches, the green circle, are also affected. So it means Hemo doesn't need to cast it, because his unit will be included. Looking at the rules, I'm actually not sure about something. Can a priest cast multiple battle prayers in a turn? They don't have a wizard level, so that normally determines how many spells they can cast. And they're bound spells. Rules as written, it seems that they could cast all 3 in a turn if they wanted to, which seems crazy to me. So I'll be interested if you have a perspective. I think my interpretation is they can only cast 1 each, so I will say the Volkmar will cast Shield of Faith, and then maybe I'll get Hemo to cast another one. But let's go with... oh, they have a lot. So let's go with 5 dice, Shield of Faith with Volkmar. He only needs a 3 to cast it, and he gets Irresistible. Well, it's cast, and because it is an innate one, as discussed before, it just means he can't cast anymore anyway. So, oh, that means he... oh no, it's a different source of the thing. So it's technically the altar casting banishment, not him. So it can still cast, I believe. So all 3 of these units have a 5+ ward save until next turn. Oh, sorry, I forgot to use the Exorcism lore attribute. If a Law of Light spell hits an enemy unit, did I count that? No, I didn't. It actually does an extra d6 hits if they are undead. So I might actually have wiped these out. I'll do that now. Extra d6, so 4 extra hits. That is actually then wiped out. So my mistake, they're gone now. But looking at the phrasing of miscast bound spells, the model cannot cast any more spells. So Volkmar got the miscast, and although it is a different bound spell, I'm still saying he can't cast anymore, so he can't use banishment anyway. The shooting phase. Again, let's move down the line with the Hellblaster, which is now in range. So 3 artillery dice for the number of shots. And it is 22. It's long range, so it does still get the -1 to hit, but 22 shots. 8. 13 hits. Due to the strength, they are definitely going to be... yep. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's 13 dead. Yikes. That is a nasty round of shooting. Oh, the crossbows. Sorry, I forgot to test for stupidity. So they are within range of Volkmar, so they are... yes, they are both still testing on 9. So crossbows. Pass. Handgunners. Pass just, but they pass. Let me just double check that 9 is his leadership. Yes, it is. So yeah, they both pass, so they can shoot. So crossbows are again going to shoot at Yuri's unit, and they are still at long range. 7 hits, but they have a slightly higher toughness. Still 5 wounds, but because of their armor, they do get a slight armor save, which they all fail, so 5 Graveguard gone. And this is why you do not charge forward and engage them in combat. You stand back and shoot at the things that can't shoot back. Handgunners still going to go for these guys, still at long range. 6 hits, 6 wounds, no armor. They have taken massive chunks out of these units. And the mortar, I decided, can see to shoot. So they're going to have to put it at the end so that they can definitely see where they're shooting. So I'll put it... can they see that one? No, it's going to have to be the one on the corner. Next is the scatter, and it go... that's bad. That's very bad. That's... oh, no. The mortar is scattering onto their own things. 10 inches this way. Oh... I mean, it looks like it just... oh, no. No, that is definitely over one. Not that I think it matters for the mortar. I don't think the mortar is stronger within the centre hole. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a higher strength in the centre hole for the mortar. Well, that's not good, is it? That's not good for them at all. So that is a strength 6 in the one in the centre, which is an ordinary guy. He is wounded. If I've done my maths correctly, his 1+ armor save is reduced to a 4+, which is still pretty impressive. Sorry, should be 3+. Yeah, because it's an armor. The mortar is armor piercing. So yeah, it does actually reduce it to a 3+, which is a fail. I mean, a 5+. 5+ armor save. It is a fail when he rolled a 4. So yes, 1 knight is dead. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ordinary knights are hit by the mortar and lobe. But this is at a lower strength, and therefore 3 wounded, and they get their full armor save, because it's normally a 2+ reduced, normally a 1+ reduced to a 2+. So 1 still dies anyway, and lobe, no wound. So that mortar firing killed 2 of their own men, or 2 knights, which is some of their best men. And then at the end of the shooting phase, all units within 6 inches suffer d6 strength 1 hits, which is the zombies, Yuri's unit, the Terrorgeist, and the skeletons. Zombies take 6. 1 wound. Graveguard. 6. No wounds. Terrorgeist. 6. 1 wound. Not saved. Skeletons, and this is another 6. Okay, 4. 1 wound. Not saved. This bloody tower. This tower in the woods. This is actually a very dangerous area, and we haven't even touched the Mist-wreathed swamp yet. And with no combat, we go into Sylvania Turn 3. You know something that's just occurred to me way too late for it to have any effect? The vampire counts chose scouts as their event. So they should have deployed fully second, and then got the first turn. And they got the first turn anyway, but the deployments might have been better, because the issue here was that, you know, the Ethereals were right next to Volkmar. Oh well. I'm not sure it's a good fit for them anyway, choosing scouts, because they don't want to go second. They don't want to go first, they want to go second, so that they're less likely to be in range for the first round of shooting. They are 9 inches away from the zombies. I think it would be a good idea to charge them, because that would both get the zombies out of the way of my Graveguard unit who wants to get into combat, but also potentially deal with the ranged units. So I will start with a charge, and I need 5 on 2 dice, which I get. They are going to stand and shoot as long as, they're not within the minimum, which they're not, which is the 4 inches, I believe. First of all, they will do their stand and shoot. They can all see, so 10 crossbows against zombies. They are all within short range. Only 2 hits, that's poor. And no wounds, yikes. In that case, they get into there, and it looks like... is it the entire front 2 ranks, or is it just... I think it's just 9, I don't think this guy is going into it. They are charging into a forest, which means they take difficult terrain, dangerous terrain, so 9 dangerous terrain tests. Not that it makes really any difference whatsoever. 9 successes. 15 inches, they'd need an 11 to pull off the charge. That's too long range. A 16, they need a 12. Yeah, that's not happening. Alright, everything else is just going to move forward. 4 inches of the Graveguard, and I guess I'm going to march through the Mist-wreathed swamp. I mean, D6 models is really not much of a concern to a unit of skeletons, so I'm just gonna take that hit. But these skeletons, we're liable to get charged in the rear by the knights if they're just left to be. Maybe I should have gone for them with the Terrorgeist. Alright, I think I'm going to lean into the fact that the swordsmen have hung back. I think I'm going to reform there. So they're not in the Wildwood. They are still within range of the Haunted Tower, so I'm going to try and do a leadership test to do a quick reform, so they don't have any characters at all, which means they're testing on a 3. Yeah, there wasn't much chance of that. I should have kept them a bit closer, but anyway, yeah, so they've reformed. That's all I really needed to do. And then this way they can deal with the knights as they try and move around, or if they don't reposition themselves quick enough, can even get the charge off. Looking again at the undead rules, because undead can't march, the exception is if they're within 12 inches of the general. So these units can actually both march, so I will march them both forward. I probably should have done that on previous turns, but I forgot that being near the general let them. I thought it was only vampiric ones could. Also, the Mist-Wreathed Swamp is, in addition to being a Mist-Wreathed Swamp, and I'm determined to say that name as many times as possible, apparently, it is also a marshland, which means it is difficult terrain for everything apart from skirmishers. So we're going to have to take a test as they move in, and they should have taken the test anyway, but as it's the same sort of piece of terrain, we only need to take it once. So that is all of these rows. So that's 17 ordinary skeletons, the champion, and Mannfred. Mannfred. Fine. Champion. Fine. 3 failed. 4 failed total. That is not too bad, but he is going to need to replenish his numbers before he reaches combat. And the Terrorgeist is going to move over here. Oh, yeah, so he would only be able to move to here, normally, because of 10 feet flight, but then he's put within range of Mannfred. Oh god, he's going to be such a target for both, maybe the Hellblaster, but definitely Volkmar. Oh god, I feel I've fluffed the Terrorgeist. Change that, then. I want to get him out of the range of this tower, so I am going to move him, but I'm going to move him up here instead. So hopefully, he's probably going to be in line of sight for the handgunners, but not the mortar. So if I put him up there, he is... Oh, actually, how far did he move? I think he was there, so that's 7.3. So he can move an additional 2.7 to there. Another inch. Pivot a little to there. Ah, damn, he's still out of range. I was really hoping to get him in range to use this thing, you see. I mean, he's definitely in sight of the gunners, but still probably not the mortar. The Wildwood triggers every movement phase, so that means the knights are going to have to roll for that again, so it is a 4+, and they are fine. But the Mist-Wreathed Swamp, at the end of each movement phase, the unit must pass an initiative test. I thought the characteristic test was taken against the majority, but double-checking, it is actually the highest in the unit full stop, which means Mannfred's 7. So they only fail on a 6, which they fail. So they lose D6 models. 3. It's another 3 skeletons. This unit's getting whittled down quite quickly. At this point, it might be worth the Empire just charging it if they can't replenish. Magic phase. 8. And he's going to re-roll the 3. Ooh, 11. Then the vampires channel twice, and the Empire channel thrice. And they get 1. So it is 7 and 11. I've just added a 6-inch aura around Yuri because he has a vampiric power called Aura of Dark Majesty, which means any enemy unit within 6 inches has -1 leadership. So I forgot to do that at the start. Doesn't affect anything yet, but is about to, I think. I think Yuri will start with a slightly upcast Invocation of Nehek on a 12. So he's going to go with 3 dice, because that increases it to a 12-inch... Ooh, actually, on a 12. So he failed that. Oh, well, good work, Yuri, you did nothing. Mannfred is going to try another Curse of Years on the Spearman. So he's going to put 4 dice into a 12. Well, I mean, with he's a level 4 wizard, means he only needs an 8, and he gets 10. Ooh, that might actually be easy for them to dispel. He cast it with a total of 14. I mean, he's got 4 power dice left, so they're wondering if he's going to try another vortex. They're going to struggle to dispel a vortex if they put anything into this. But I think they're going to go for it, which means... yeah, they're going to have to put in more than he did, even though he barely scraped it. So they're going to put 5 into dispelling, and they need 14, which they get. I kind of think I need to heal. Like, Mannfred's unit's not looking good. Yeah, if they charge with the demogryphs, I think we're in trouble. To be honest, even if we heal and they charge, we might be in trouble. I forgot about life leeching when I did the Purple Sun. Okay, I probably could have cast more spells after that. Oh well. And bearing that in mind, I think I am going to try the Purple Sun again on a normal cast, so I think I need a 15 for that. Yeah, 15. So he's got very little chance of dispelling it. Virtually none, really. And I have a decent chance of casting it, so 17 with the +4 from his wizard level. So that is cast. They're going to try and dispel, but they need a double 6 in order to succeed, which they do not get. He's planning for it to go right through there. He wants to take out as many spearmen as he can, but first, an artillery dice to see the distance it goes. Oh no, it's a misfire, which means it is placed directly over the caster and then scatters d6 inches. So it is scattering 1 inch in that buggery. Oh no! 1 inch that way. Oh good, it hits more of them. Okay. Yikes. Every model must take an initiative test or be slain outright. So that is 5 skeletons testing on a 2. Wow, only 2 dead. And Mannfred is testing on a 6. So he's fine. It would have been devastating if Mannfred had disappeared into his own Purple Sun, but that now hangs around compared to the previous one, where it just went straight off the board. This one is going to hang around and continue to move each turn. And now life leeching comes into effect, so although he only killed his own, there's a chance he could gain 2 extra power dice. He actually gained 1. So I guess he's going to do an Invocation of Nehek. I mean, you can technically cast that on a 6, and he's got a +4, so as long as he doesn't roll a 1 or a 2, then I believe it is still going to pass. Yeah, it passes. It was the lowest one, but that's still enough to affect these 2 units. And the Curse of Undeath, the vampire lore attribute, comes into effect, and Mannfred actually regains the wound he lost earlier in the battle. I think I just roll once, so d6 +4. Both the skeletons and the Graveguard regain 6 wounds, which I believe is all the Graveguard that died. Oh no, there are a few more. That Graveguard unit is looking pretty damn imposing again. Shooting, the Terrorgeist is sadly still out of range, but the Graveguard, zombies, and skeletons all need to test for, or need to get hit by the Haunted Tower. Graveguard, 6. 1 wound. Zombies, 2. And yet a wound. Skeletons, 1. No wound. And for the combat, it is zombies versus crossbows. Zombies have always strikes last, so they go second. So 10 crossbows hitting. 6 hits. Only 1 wound. And then 10 zombies, because that's all they can hit with. 4 hits. 2 wounds. And they're not wearing any armor, so that is 2 dead. Add in their ranks. That means the zombies... Oh, I forgot to test for fear. It's like I was thinking about it before the combat, and I just completely forgot to. So they're within Inspiring Presence, so they're testing on a 9. They fail. They actually fail, so they have a lower weapon skill. And actually in this case would have had no effect, because it changed it from a 3 to hit to a 4 to hit, and they rolled 4 2s, and the rest were 4 or higher. So yeah, everything happened as it should. But yes, they lose the combat by 5. Interesting. I missed this rule of regiments and detachments. Whether a detachment is steadfast is determined by their regiment. If the regiment is either not in combat itself, or is engaged and steadfast, then all of the detachments are steadfast, even if fighting an enemy with more ranks. That means that the crossbowmen are considered steadfast because they're not in combat, even though there are more ranks in the zombies. So I suppose that's a reason to attack the regiment unit and not the detachments, because, they might just hold on anyway. But because if they were charged and they were not steadfast, then these wouldn't be either. In that case, they're testing on a 9. So they may actually just hold on. Wow, I may have completely misunderstood. Oh, that's insane cowardice in their part. So, yeah, the zombies rout them. Okay, I still think that is a part of detachments that is very much game-changing, which I was not aware of. But, yeah, the crossbows are going to flee. So first of all, we test to see if any nearby break, because that is not part of the rule. That's sort of what I think should be, that detachments can never cause their regimental unit to break, but it seems that is not the case. In a previous one, I've talked about how I think I have talked about, that's why I think regiments and detachments aren't very good, because you can have a tiny unit that is quite easy to break, and then it can just trigger panic. But this steadfast thing might sort of balance that, because if you keep a solid steadfast unit around them, then they're less likely to break, and if they do break, then you've earned it, sort of thing. But yes, the gunners, the mortar, and the regiment unit. Sorry, my computer's making a loud buzzing noise. I hope you can't hear that. But yes, I'll start off with the mortar, as that is the only one that is outside of the range of the Inspiring Presence. So they are testing on a 7, which they fail. They're not within range of the banner, so they fail their panic. But unlike other ones, they don't now flee. Instead, the crew dive for cover, and the mortar cannot fire in its next turn. Next is the handgunners, who are within range of Inspiring Presence, but not their detachment. Either way, they're testing on Volkmar's 9, which they pass. And then the regimental unit, again testing on a 9, which they pass. Okay, that didn't quite go how I expected it to, but we go into Empire Turn 3, and this is where things are going to start heating up, I think. 14 inches is too far for them to charge either. I'm wondering if it's worth charging the Graveguard or waiting for them. It's probably best to wait for them, particularly with the Vortex there. I don't want to get any closer to that. Maybe the Demogryphs take advantage of the fact that they're sort of bogged down and Mannfred is sort of vulnerable. Yeah, I think they can make use of this. I think Demogryphs can shred the skeletons. Skeletons are really not particularly powerful at all. So if the Demogryphs can take out enough of them, they can then break Mannfred's unit and possibly break... they can't break it because it's unbreakable, literally, but they can definitely sort of whittle away at it and leave Mannfred on his own. So yeah, I think they're going to charge. And if possible, they're going to charge in such a way that they don't hit either of these terrain pieces. So they need a 3, and they have Swift Stride, so they're rolling 3 dice. They easily get it. So they... no. So one of them is going to have to go into the marsh, but if I place them there, then only one does. But as monstrous cavalry going into a marshland, they actually fail on a 2 or 3. A 1 or 2, sorry. I didn't mean to roll that. There. So they pass. The big unit of swordsmen are going to move up. They're going to try and take out the skeletons who've hung back. But I'm not sure anyone else is moving. The handgunners want to shoot. These guys don't want to go closer to the vortex. Volkmar? I don't think Volkmar wants to go near it either. Although he is going to move backwards. So he's going to move back. He's got a move of 6 or 8? 8. He's moved 3, so that's under the half for moving backwards. But this frees up line of sight for the Hellblaster, who is going to be shooting right down there this turn. Oh yeah, I need to test stupidity for the cross... Oh no, the crossbows, they're in combat, so they don't test. But the handgunners, they pass. And the knights are in a very tricky position here. I think they're going to have to reform, because if they don't reform, they're getting penned into the corner by the skeletons and the terror guys. So I think they're going to have to reform to... Oh, God, I didn't mean to... No. They're going to have to reform like that. So these, although the base is off the board, the models are not. And they are going to have to... They're going to have to take the skeletons on. And they're probably not going to get the charge. But then at the end of the move, everything touching the wildwood, which is just the knights, need to test. On a 4+, they get hit. They get hit. And they take D6, 1 strength 4 hit, which is a wound. They get an armor save, which they pass. And with the Mistwreath Swamp, it seems to be that you only take the initiative test if the majority of the unit is in the swamp, which is not the case with the Demogryphs, but the skeletons are going to have to test. But they are still using Mannfred's, which they pass. Magic 6. Channeling 3 for the Empire. Ooh, 2. Channeling 2 for the vampires. None. The battle prayers are really not particularly important, so I will be going with... Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on. My mistake. The detachment here, because this unit was hit by the battle prayer, they should have also been hit by it, so they lost 2. So they actually get a, what was it, a 5+ ward save? Yeah, 5+ ward save from the battle prayer. So I'll just quickly test that. Oh, they both failed. Well, worth remembering anyway. But yes, because battle prayers are not likely to be worried about with the dispelling, because there's only one unit that's actually going to benefit from battle prayers this turn, I'm just going to go with 6 dice on Banishment cast against the Graveguard by Volkmar. So he only needs like a 4 for this. So, ooh, Irresistible. So that means Volkmar can't cast anymore. There's no reason not to. There's no reason not to just invite the Irresistible when it's a bound innate spell. There is no downside to it. There is a downside to it. Or is there? I am confused and I don't know what to do. So I'm going to do a roll-off to determine it. The reason I'm confused is the way miscast on bound spells works, and I talked about this earlier, is if it's contained within an item, the item is destroyed. If it is an innate ability, then you just can't cast more innate abilities, or more bound spells rather. The reason I'm confused is because with the War Altar of Sigmar, the banishment spell comes from the Golden Griffin, this big thing on top, which is classed as a magic item, but in the description says innate bound spell. So it is both an innate and a magic item. I am inclined, and I've been looking up some of the other things, and nowhere else, apart from 3 things in the Empire Army book, can I find reference to an innate bound spell contained within an item. No, because even that's a special rule. Yeah, this is so weird. There are 3 things in the Empire Army thing which have innate bound spells like this. And they are all chariots like the War Altar Sigma that Volkmar's riding. The other 2 are the Celestial Herculaneum and the Luminarch of Hysh. And in both of those cases, both the Celestial and the Luminarch, they both have this innate bound spell as a special rule. It is only this one which has it tied to the enchanted item of the Golden Griffin, and still calls it an innate bound spell. So the 2 ways to interpret this are, because it's innate, the idea is it's couched, the magic is couched in the entire chariot, and therefore can't be destroyed like that. But the fact that it is an item and not a rule for this one makes me want to ignore the innate, and I think they just copy and pasted the basics of it. But the fact that it's specifically an enchanted item means I think it should be destroyed. I think it should crumble to dust, because they made it an item, not a special rule. Because they could have. They did on the other 2, so this is different. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, and maybe I should do a roll-off for it, but this is my interpretation of this rule based on how it's written. It's bizarre that they do this sort of thing sometimes. But anyway, I'm going to say that means the Golden Griffin crumbles And although banishment is cast, it cannot be cast again this game. So including the exorcism, this does 3d6 hits. Wow, okay. 13. Got about a half chance of wounding, and they will get armor. That's a lot of 6s. 8 successes. They get their armor save. 5 still die to it, though. Not as bad as that could have been. They are still up on where they were last turn after the invocation restored 6 of them. And with my interpretation that it's a magic item and not an innate ability, that means Volkmar can still cast innate abilities, so he is going to use his last 2 to try and cast something else. I may have forgotten to apply this, but he does actually get a +1 as the Grand Theogonist to this roll, so that is a total of 11. However, between various things, they still have all their dispel dice and they get a +4 to this. So yeah, they dispel it. Shooting, we only have 2 units that can shoot. We have the Hellblaster and the Handgunners. So I will go left to right as usual and have the Hellblaster shooting the Graveguard. 3 dice to determine the number of shots. We have a misfire, 1 misfire, which halves it. So it would be 14 halved to 7. They are considered long range. 4 hits, only 2 wounds. But that is enough to reduce their armor save to nothing, so 2 more Graveguard gone. And the Handgunners can definitely see the Terrorgeist, but it is a question of if it's in range. Range of 24, no it is not. So instead they're going to have to shoot at the Skeletons, which is definitely in range. And that range is long. 4 hits, 3 wounds, no armor, 3 Skeletons gone. Just lightly chipping away at the unit that's probably about to kill the Knights. But at the end of the shooting, again, ooh, is that close enough? Question is it if it's on the line or is it within the line? I'm going to say it's on the line, so I will count that in the same way as I count them as being within the blue. So, yep, Skeletons, Graveguard, and Zombies again. Skeletons take 4 strength 1 hits. I said Skeletons. There are only 1 skeleton, so I guess I meant the Graveguard, but I said Skeletons, so we'll go with Skeletons. No wounds. Zombies. 1. No wound. Graveguard. 3. No wounds. And now we have 2 combats. I will do the Demogryph one first, because the Empire gets to choose the order. They are no longer affected by the Shield of Faith they had last turn. So, first of all... the Vortex. So the way this works is an artillery and a scatter, and it moves that number of inches. On a misfire, like that, it dissipates immediately. So, no more Vortex, which is lucky for the Empire because it would have gone towards them. Mannfred is going to challenge, and they will accept because they have no choice. There are only 3 of them. Mannfred's initiative of 7 is much faster, so he goes first. And I should mention that cavalry get the cavalry charge homebrew rule, but monstrous cavalry don't because they have like their own thing. They're less about the sort of the big charging impact as they are about being big and more able to hold themselves in a fight. You know, cavalry is all about the charge, so that's why I don't give monstrous cavalry the homebrew rule. They also have fear, the Demogryphs, so they do not have to test against fear in this fight. Mannfred has 5 attacks and 3 hit. They use the Demogryph's toughness, but that is still 3 wounds, which is enough to immediately kill the Demogryph champion. Like, just cut down by the vampire speed. At which point Mannfred's Sword of Unholy Power activates. For each unsaved wound, Mannfred gains an additional dice at the start of the next magic phase. So that's 3 wounds. He gets 3 additional dice. But next it is the Demogryphs and the Knights on them, who both go before the ordinary Skeletons do. 3 Demogryph attacks each against the Skeletons, 6 hits. 5 wounds. As they're armed with spears, they do not get a parry save. So they are dead. 5 dead. 2 Knight attacks. And they both miss. Because the champion is there, they get 11 skeleton attacks back, only 4 hits, no wounds, and then the 2 demogryphs get to stomp the skeletons. So that's 2 automatic hits at strength 5. Only 1 wound, that's really poor. They have a banner on each side, and the skeletons have 1 rank in addition, so they actually lose the combat by 3. They are unbreakable but unstable, so they lose another 3 skeletons. I will attempt a combat reform amid defeat, so they're testing on Mannfred's leadership of 10, which they succeed, so I can reform the unit. This narrower unit has the advantages of making use of the fact that they're wielding spears, gets the majority of them out of the swamp, and also makes them just less of a target to be sort of shot at and stuff. And then the zombies versus the crossbowmen. So 8 crossbowmen go first. 4 hit. 2 wound. Yeah, it's really not doing anything. Zombies are just the ultimate hold. I love them for that. But they're not very good at killing in return. 10 attacks. Only 2 hit. 1 wound. And this time they definitely don't have any battle prayers. So that is 1 dead. The zombies get +3 for their ranks, so they win the combat by 2. However, again, steadfast, so it doesn't matter. Crossbowmen testing on a 9, which they pass. Hang on. No! Sorry! Oh, God, I was in such a hurry to get it right last time. I knew I removed these for a reason. They broke, didn't they? They got a double 6 last time. Oh, damn. So this is the Empire turn. So yeah, they would have fled last time. Sorry, because the way I normally do this, you see, is I move them and then go, oh damn, which units were within 6? So I was so preoccupied with going, oh those, and those, and then dealing with them first, I forgot to actually move the crossbows. I'm very glad I remembered that now. That would have been very awkward in the edit. So they fled 5 inches last turn through difficult terrain, so they would have had to all test. There were 8 of them because I added the 1 back. Only 1 failed, so the one I just killed would have died in the flee. So they moved to there. No, 1 back there. So they moved to there in panic, and then it was the Empire turn, and then they try and rally on a 9, which they succeed. So they would have rallied to there. So I believe they still would have been affected. They do it at the end, don't they? So yeah, they wouldn't have been affected by stupidity. They also wouldn't have been able to shoot because crossbows are move or fire. So yeah, that's just where we're left. Oh no, the zombies would have pursued. Of course they would. And they would have caught them. So no, crossbows would be dead. Sorry. I blame that on being out of practice. So yeah, oh no, I grabbed the wrong thing there. Yeah, they moved 9 this way. That is all the zombies need to take dangerous terrain, so that is 23 of them, which again, we're not here at the beginning of the battle. I just love pointing that out. 2 fail. 3 fail in total. That is pretty good odds. Yeah, I should have done that. That should have happened at the end of the Sylvanian turn. I don't think it would have affected what any of these things did, because they couldn't do anything. They wanted to shoot, they wanted to hold their ground and ignore the zombies. So yeah, it would have been the same all round, I think. So apologies about that. But that is the end of Empire turn 3. So we're into Sylvania turn 4. The Terrorgeist is going to charge. And it causes terror, as you might have guessed from its name. It's within the minimum range, so I don't even need to roll for it because it's got a flight of 10. It is just going to charge in, and they have to take a test to see if they just flee from it, which they're very unlikely to, because they've got the banner there. They do also have a general, but the hold the line only affects break tests, so will not help with the panic test they are taking now. But they can still use his leadership of 9. Testing on 9, with a reroll, they succeed. Alright. I should have thought about that a bit more, I think. Also, does that count? Yes, that touches it. Oh, sorry. Back to line up with where these are, because then they're sort of floating a bit. Oh, yeah, touching the base. It doesn't quite touch the terrain. So, yeah, I'm putting him there so he's touching 2 of them, but he is not actually in the terrain. You can see that little gap there. I will also have the skeletons charge in. They need a 2 because they have a movement of 4 and it's a 6-inch, so again, they just succeed. But they will be taking dangerous terrain because some of them are going through this wood. It looks like these 4 ranks, so that's 5 ranks, sorry, so that's 15 tests. Only 1 failure. The Graveguard are going to charge as well. So they're going to charge the Spearman. It's 8 inches, so they need a 4 on 2 dice, which they just get, but they do get. They have no reaction that they can do because their detachment is gone. So this just moves up. And the unit of zombies is going to reform to face this way. Yay! Oh, hang on, they're stupid. So they might be stupid, so they need to... They're at least partially within the fungus. They are not within his range, so they're oh no. The zombies are testing on their own leadership of double 1 is needed. Yeah, okay, they fail. So they were there. So they stumbled d6 inches forwards. 3. I don't know what happens if this takes them off the board. I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know what happens if... I guess they're gone? I don't know. And at the end of the move, we have the skeletons and the knights who are both in wildwoods, so they need to test for the wildwood damage. Skeletons on a 4+. They are hit by d6 strength 4 hits. 2 strength 4 hits. 1 wound. Not saved. And the knights on a 4+. They get hit by... I keep moving over there early. They get hit by d6. That is 5 strength 4 hits. 3 wounds. All saved. Magic. And that is 8. And Mannfred actually gets a +3 to that because of the wounds he did with his magic sword. So I'm not going to re-roll, because there's not really much higher it can go. Especially as 2 channeling for the vampires, none. 3 channeling for the Empire, none. Although they're both in combat, they can still cast their spells, as long as they still comply with the other requirements for that spell type. Mannfred is going to open up with Doom and Darkness on Volkmar, which needs a 10, and he's going to use 3 dice for it. It's a hex, so he can cast it without line of sight, which is arguable at the moment. So that is 8 plus his 4 for his level, a total of 12, so it casts. Realistically, he's going to need 4 dice to pretty much guarantee a dispelling on that, so it's a question of whether he wants to use that now. Yeah, it's really tricky, because he's got tons of dice left, so there is still lots of evil stuff the vampires can do this turn, but they can pretty much only dispel one thing, and if he dispels this, it will have a big effect, because, you know, they'll use his leadership. Then again, it'll only decrease it by sort of 1 for most of them, because like Hemo and such have high leadership anyway. I think they're going to let it through, but it's a remains in play spell, so they will need to actively dispel it on a future turn to get rid of it, but that is now Doom and Darkness. Mannfred's in the best position to cast this, so I'm going to use 2 dice on an ordinary Invocation of Nehek, so a 6. 5 plus his 4 is a 9. That still leaves him with his 6 dice, so they're not gonna try and dispel that either. So that will restore 1d6 plus 4 to the skeletons and the Graveguard. 6 more Graveguard, and another row of skeletons. And yeah, it was risky to leave all those things undispelled, but he's now going to cast Curse of Years, and they knew something like this was coming. Like, you could tell by the way he was casting his dice that he was holding back for a big spell. So yeah, he's going to do Curse of Years on the Spearman, which is a hex, and can therefore both be done into combat and without line of sight. So it's within range. You can just hit them with Curse of Years. So he's going to use 6 dice on that. Oh, that's a low roll. Even then, it's still 19. And they're going to use all 5 dice to try and dispel. Oh, they fail it with 14. That's not enough. Curse of Years passes. So this massive unit of spearmen, I think it's like 50 spearmen, or it was. It's close to 50 spearmen. Each one on a 6 just dies. And same with Hemo and the champion. They also have to test on it. So Hemo on a 6. He's fine. The champion is fine. Right, now how many of the others are there? 42. There are 42 spearmen. And on a 6, they die. 2, 4, 6. None. Still 6. 7. I mean, that is exactly numbers. 7 out of 42 is exactly a 6th. That's amazing. I love it when numbers do that. But the reason Curse of Years is so powerful, and this is why they were so terrified of letting it through, is that sticks around, and next turn they die on a 5, unless it's dispelled. Yeah, that was a pretty good magic phase for the vampires. They got through everything they wanted. In the shooting, we actually get to use the Terrorgeist Death Shriek. Yay! And sadly, it's actually weakened by the fact that he is, or it is, I guess, that it's roll 2d6, and it can be used even in combat or after charging, etc. Roll 2d6 and add the number of wounds, so 4, and then for each point that exceeds the target unit's leadership, they take a wound. So 2d6 plus 4, and Loeb has a leadership of 9. Oh, so that's 9 plus 4 minus 9 is 4. So 4 wounds. Just 4 knights just die from being shrieked at by the Terrorgeist. That is nasty. But I believe they do not count for combat resolution, because it doesn't say they do. In combat, we have got 3 combats. I think I'll start down here because this is the least connected to anything. Also, I think this is the first turn without the Haunted Tower doing any damage to anything, so that's fun. So first of all, they are going to have to test for fear on a 9. They fail! So that means this entire unit has leadership 1. Not leadership, weapon skill 1. Oh yeah, I think they might be dead now. That might have killed them. I think Lambert is going to challenge, which will be accepted by the Skeleton Champion. So good luck to him. But, yeah, good luck to him. And the only reason he's doing this is because it sort of cuts off these ones from sort of helping with the fight. I mean, they're still hitting the skeletons on a 4+. But only 1 hit from Lambert. He may still get the kill here. He did not. Well, and the horse? Miss. The champion gets, 2 hits. No wounds. Next, Loeb is going to try and kill the Terrorgeist, so he's going to direct all of his attacks towards it. 3 attacks. Unfortunately, he has weapon skill 1. 1 attack still hits, though. Very low chance of wounding. Fails. Then the knights, the horses, and the Terrorgeist all strike at once. So that's 6 knights. I can't remember my ruling about whether this knight can fight, because technically he's not considered in contact with the enemy in the same way. I can't remember. I still don't really remember my ruling on that, but I'm just going to, in this game, say that he can't. So, same with, the other side. That's why these two can't fight. But that's 6 knights. 3 hits. Wow. 3 wounds. However, 2 were saved, so only 1 wound actually goes through. 3 horses against the skeletons, 1 horse against the Terrorgeist. 3 misses against the skeletons. And actually, I think this is a 5+. Miss against the Terrorgeist as well. Considering how close they are to the board edge, I think the Terrorgeist is going to go for the knights and not Loeb. Like, this would be his best chance to kill Loeb, but I think, the Terrorgeist isn't thinking strategically in how can I best destroy this future threat to the vampires? And he's more thinking, there's a big load of horses there, nom nom. 2 hits. 2 wounds against the knights. They still get a decent armor save, and pass both, they're fine. And now the skeletons, and they fight with all 4 ranks, because they normally fight with 2, they get a 3rd because they are wielding spears, and they get a 4th because they are 10 across, they're a horde. So that's why they get all 4. 14 skeletons against the knights. They've got to do some decent damage here, come on. 8 hits, 4 wounds, all saved. The knights are completely unhurt by the actual... Where are they? Over here. They're completely unhurt. That is crazy to me. Okay, well, there's still the Terrorgeist Thunder Stomp, but I don't believe he gets that against cavalry. Yeah, no Thunder Stomp, so that's the end of the combat. They both have banners. They get... no, they're not a complete rank, but they get 2 for the rank, so the vampires win by 2. They take their break test on lobes, minus the 2, so 9 down to 7. Because of Hold the Line, they roll 3 dice, and they get a reroll. So they, using the 2 best, they pass. That is unexpected. I didn't think they would hold on. I thought they would be just routed by being hit by this much. Next we'll do the Graveguard. And Yuri is going to challenge, which will be accepted by... Which one does Hemo? Hemo's the great weapon. Ooh. I think Hemo's going to accept. He's a bit of a nutter. So yeah, Hemo is going to accept the challenge from the vampire. Oh, but before we do, we need to do the fear. Yuri is built a little bit to make people fail fear, as he has Aura of Dark Majesty, which means anything within the green circle has -1 leadership, which is now also Volkmar, which is cumulative with the -3, and Fear Incarnate, which means people who pass his fear test have to re-roll it. Vampires, you can just do so much with them. The funny thing is, because of the -3, they're not going to use Volkmar's leadership, because he's down to a 5. They're better off using Hemo's, which is 8 minus the 1 for a 7. Testing on Hemo's 7, they fail. So they also have 1 weapon skill this turn. Oh, that's bad for them. So about that challenge. Yuri has a much higher initiative, so he goes first. I mean, he's wielding a great weapon, so he actually goes last, but either way, Yuri goes first. 4 attacks, 3 hit, 2 wounds, and because of his high strength, he doesn't get an armor save. So he just takes 2 wounds, and that's enough to kill him. Hemo just gets completely cut down by Yuri. And then the Spearman and the Graveguard both have an initiative of 3, so they strike at the same time. I will do the Spearman first. And like the Skeletons, they get all 4 ranks. Oh, hang on. They shouldn't have, because they charged. So they shouldn't have got the 2 extra. I mean, they didn't do any damage, doesn't matter. But yeah, they don't get it on the turn they charge. They do get it on the turn they are charged, so these definitely do get all 4. 38 attacks because they still have their champion. However, due to their weapon skill of 1, they are not looking good here. 2, 7, 9, 13. That is above the odds, I think. 4 wounds, 2 saved, and they get 2 parry saves as well, which they fail, so 2 Graveguard destroyed. Not that it really matters in this case, they're not going to be able to use that rank, so I will just move them. They have 30 attacks back because they get the extra rank from the Horde, and there is the champion. They also have Killing Blow, but that'll come in with the rolling to wound rather than rolling to hit. So 30 rolls to hit. 7, 14, 21, wow. 7, 7, and 7. 21 hits. Any 6s mean that there is no armor save that they can take. 7 wounds. Ooh, total of 16 wounds, of which 2 were 6s. So 2 are just dead, no armor save whatsoever. 14 get a very slight armor save. 14... Sorry. I rolled 16 again, I'm sorry. That should have been 14. 14 get a very slight armor save, which is 1 success. So that's a total of 15 spearmen killed, which is pretty damning. They are definitely not steadfast, so they are testing on a double 1, regardless of any leadership adjustments anywhere near them. This is not looking good for them, and... Ooh, they actually got remarkably close, but they still fail. So any within 6 inches have to test, which is just Volkmar. And considering he's on leadership 5, there is a very real chance that Volkmar the Grim may flee the field. So testing on a 5. He fails! Oh! Oh no! Volkmar flees 4 inches, so he may still be on the board. Except it counts as a chariot, so you roll 3 dice and use the highest. So that is 8 instead of 4. He flees from the nearest unit, which is obviously this one, so he flees 8 inches this way, which takes him... Oh, he's just on the board! 8 inches, he's just still on, but he is here, he may rally. The spearmen flee 9 inches. I think I should have said, I should have decided before I knew how far they were fleeing, whether they would pursue or restrain. I think I want them to restrain, because they're probably going to flee off the board and they're going to have a hard time rallying from this, and they're surrounded. So I think I'd rather restrain them to try and get them up to help Mannfred. So they need to take a leadership test, but it's on Yuri's 7, which he passes. So yes, they do restrain, and they can reform. These guys flee 9, I rolled, which is not enough to get them off the board either. Remarkable. But they are going to reform to face that way. So they are reforming right before the Hellblaster, but, is going to fire, but they were going to get shot by it, no matter what they did, so this way Yuri can help his master. And then the last fight is Mannfred's unit versus the Demogryphs. So no more challenges, but Mannfred does still go first. They don't need to test for fear, so instead it is just 4 hits, 3 wounds. Did I give the champion armor saves? I don't remember doing so, but at the same time, I could have. It's a 3+, so it's possible he could fail all of them. It was quite a way back, so I don't think I can find it in the roll log. So apologies if I didn't. Okay, well, they only fail 1, so... God, maybe I didn't. God, that would be really, really awkward if I just let Mannfred win without testing armor saves. Given how tough Mannfred is, I think their best chance is to just go straight for... Oh, then again, he's the general. No, they're better off just taking out as many skeletons as possible, and then they can really focus on Mannfred afterwards. So yeah, they're going to direct all 6 Demogryph attacks against the skeletons. 4 hit, 4 wound, no armor, 2 knight attacks, both hit, both wound, 1 save. And then 15 skeleton attacks back, because of the champion. 9 hits, no wounds at all. And then 2 stomps against the skeletons. Both wound, no armor. They each have a banner, and they have 2 extra ranks, but the vampires lose by 4, so they lose another 4 skeletons. Well, that's not quite how I expected that to go, but we go into Empire turn 4. The Empire are in a bit of a tricky position here. Most of their units are fleeing or ranged. These swordsmen have just done nothing. They can probably reach that. They are going to be charging into a wildwood, which is really not good for them. But I think that is probably the only chance at saving the knights, and maybe they'll win this side of the battlefield. So they are going to charge. It is 9.1, so that is rounded up to 10, which means they need a 6 on 2 dice. Ooh, which they just get, but they do get. So these guys charge into combat, and that means how many are going to have to take dangerous terrain? It looks like... Ooh, wow. I can see from inside. Ooh. Oh yeah, I forgot this was a garrisonable building. Hey, look at those people fighting outside. Ooh, we're spooky ghosts. Let's just murder a load of people because we're really dangerous. Okay, so it looks like maybe the first 3 ranks? Yeah, I'd say that guy's over it as well. So that's the front 3 ranks, including the champion and craft. Craft is fine. The champion is fine. 13 ordinary swordsmen, only 3 die. But considering how big that unit is, that's a bit of a drop in the bucket. So they start off with 1 for the charge and 1 for the flank. And also, I think... Hang on, I need to position this right. Oh, whoops. Position like that so that all of them are in contact. And I believe that automatically sort of shifts these down here. Like, it doesn't actually shift them, but they're treated as... Oh, come on. They're treated as having shifted, so I prefer to shift them just for convenience. And that is all of the ones that can charge, so now we do some rally checks. It's now Empire 4, so we can get rid of this. We have the Spearman and we have Volkmar. I'll do Volkmar first because if he can rally, it actually will not help them at all, but it's important that I rally Volkmar. Now that he's outside of Yuri's area, he is only on the -3, which means he is rallying on a 6. Oh, he fails it. That was very nearly a 2. No way for him to re-roll it, so he is going to continue fleeing. As he has Swift Stride, he flees 3d6 and then get rid of the lowest, so he flees 5, but frankly, literally anything would have him fleeing off the board. So Volkmar has fled the battlefield unharmed, but that is devastating to the Empire side, and frankly devastating to Volkmar's reputation. Like, yeah, the Grand Theogonist, one of the most powerful religious, or the most powerful religious figure in the Empire, one of the electors, just fled the battlefield from Mannfred because what? He saw some spearmen break? Yikes. And the spearmen are testing on a 7, which is a much higher one. But they pass. I don't know why I assumed they would fail. Sorry, I started saying but they failed, even though they haven't. So they will rally and rotate. I guess I assumed they would fail because of Volkmar's absence and Hemo being gone, but Empire troops actually have a decent leadership in their own right. And then the last compulsory move is testing stupidity in the fungus forest. So they are testing... Oh, they pass anyway. I think they were on a 7 as well. But they pass. So I probably do need to move the handgunners as they have pretty much run out of things to shoot. I don't think the... No, they're not quite in the front rank. Alright, well the handgunners then are going to move forward. No, I think the handgunners are actually just going to pivot. 1, 2, 3. They don't want to get into the range of this haunted tower. They've seen it kill a lot of things. But there they should be able to... What about you? Can you see as well? Yeah. So they should be able to fire at the Graveguard, even if the Graveguard continue to move that way, but they won't be able to fire this turn. Oh yes, I forgot the zombies were there. Maybe I perhaps should have dealt with that. Magic! 9. Oh yes, didn't Mannfred get a wound as well? I think Mannfred inflicted the only wound, which does actually give him an additional dice. Almost forgot about that, assuming that was him. I think I channeled too much last turn. I think I automatically channeled 3 for the Empire. Now there's only the 1. And 2 for the vampires. Nope, nothing. With the War Altar gone, now the only magic is Craft with his battle prayers. So he is definitely going to be casting something. I think I will go with the Hammer of Sigmar. Also, I have realised now I forgot to apply Hatred, which when this unit fought originally, I believe should have doubled their... not doubled. Let them re-roll failed rolls to hit in the thing where they had the 1 weapon skill. Maybe that would have made a difference. Apologies about that. But I will not forget it this time. But yes, he's going to try and cast Hammer of Sigmar, which requires 3. They have 7 dice, and this is the only spell he's going to cast. I actually think I was wrong. I've been thinking about it more. I think I was wrong about them only being able to cast 1, because wizards can cast multiple, so why wouldn't they be able to cast multiple prayers? I'll continue with it for this battle, but then after this one, let me know what you think in the comments. After this one, I'll probably let them cast multiple. But because there is no downside to it, I'm just going to put 6 dice into the Hammer of Sigmar, total of 20. Mannfred is going to try and dispel it, so he gets a +4 to this because of his wizard level. He actually rolled 20 as well, and with the +4, that means he dispels it. Shooting, and I don't think the mortar will actually be able to fire. Oh no. No, they probably have line of sight to the Graveguard. Alright, but we'll start off with the Hellblaster. That is definitely going to be shooting the Graveguard. So 3 artillery dice. And it is 14. No misrolls, misfires, so it is all 14. It is actually just within half range, so they do not get a long range penalty. Exactly half, 7. 3 wounds, which reduces their armor save to nothing, so just 3 Graveguard gone. Oh, sorry, I forgot to deal with Curse of Years. They are going to try and dispel it with the last 3 dice. I almost completely forgot, I'm glad I remembered. You don't actually need a wizard. There is Craft who could dispel it, but it doesn't really matter because he doesn't have a wizard level, so nothing to add. So yeah, he's just going to try and dispel it on 3, and he needs 12. So I probably should have put more dice into that. Yeah, he fails that on an 8. Whoops, I did forget that too much. So having failed that, they are afflicted by Curse of Years. So each model is wounded on a 5+, and next turn it'll be a 4+. So that is the Champion and 20 Spearmen. Champion, he's okay. 7, 11 die. That is over the 25% required to trigger another panic test. Testing on a 7 again. Oh, that's really bad. So they flee 4 inches away from the nearest enemy, which is actually the zombies. And this is an interesting situation, because pivoting to flee from the zombies takes them off the board. And there actually is not room for them to not be off the board. Oh no, fleeing through enemies is just a dangerous terrain, so it's not impassable. So I'm going to, I guess, be nice to them and say that this guy is going to have to take a dangerous terrain, but they do get to make their flee move to there. Because it felt just really mean to say, no, your unit is too fat, you have to leave the board. Testing for that one guy, and he fails. He just gets killed by the Graveguard just by being there. The mortar can rotate, so the mortar definitely has line of sight through there. Not going through the terrain, it can definitely see the Graveguard. So yeah, the mortar is going to fire at the Graveguard. It would fire at the zombies, but there is a 12-inch minimum range, and obviously they are closer than that. Ooh, they're just beyond it. But yeah, aiming from there. Ooh, actually, that's the only one that has clear line of sight. No, double-checked. And of course Forest doesn't block line of sight because it's cover. If you draw line of sight through it, it provides cover. So in this case, it doesn't make a difference because, cover doesn't help against a mortar. Like a mortar shell, but yeah, it can just fire straight through there. I don't need to clip the edge and risk scattering onto them. I can just aim right there for all the rules say. So I will go for there. That is outside the 12, within the 48, and hits as many Graveguard as possible. So I need to roll an artillery and a scatter. It is 6 inches that way, which might take it too far. 6 inches this way. Oh no, it is going to clip. Oh, barely, but it is definitely clipping the front of the unit. So that is, I would say, these 4. That is much worse than that could have been. For the Empire, that is. Nothing was under the center hole, so they're all hit at strength 2. No wounds. The handgun has moved, so they cannot fire. Nothing's within range of... Oh, I forgot to check the wildwood. Right, so that the wildwood is the knights, the skeletons, and the swordsmen. So on a 4+, they take damage. So the knights take d6, 3 strength 4 hits, 2 wounds. They get their full armor, so they're fine. Skeletons, not hurt. And swordsmen, hurt. Hit by 1. Not a wound. It's funny that this is still mysterious. No one has actually gone in these woods at all. Oh, and the Mistwreath Swamp, although there is now no unit with the majority within it, because 3 rows are not, and 2 rows are, so... and that's 50-50, so not a majority. Combat, I think Mannfred's won first. So Mannfred gets to strike first. 3 hits. 3 wounds. 1 failed armor save. So Mannfred, and I'm remembering to do this now, +1 from his Sword of Unholy Evil, Unholy Might, I've forgotten what it's called. 1 wound taken off, and it is now the Demogryph's chance to fight back. I think they were doing well attacking the unit, because if they can kill the unit, then Mannfred will be on his own. They are about to be hit by this force, but I still think they're better off killing the unit as quickly as possible rather than trying to kill. Then again, all right, I'm gonna try. If they can kill Mannfred, which is very, very unlikely that they're going to be able to like this, they may be able to destroy the army. So I will do 1 Demogryph against Mannfred. 1 hit, a wound, and due to the high strength and armor piercing of the Demogryph, that is not saved at all, so Mannfred does actually take a wound. The other Demogryph can't reach him, so he's going for the skeletons. 2 hits, 2 wounds, no saves. 1 knight against Mannfred, hit, no wound. 1 knight against skeletons, hit, no wound. And now 12 skeleton attacks back because of the champion and spears giving them the extra rank. Only 2 hits, that is abysmal. 1 wound, just saved, but it is saved. Like, the armor on the Demogryph Knights and the Blazing Knights has really saved them. They would have been dead a long time ago if their armor save wasn't quite that amazing. And 2 stomps, 1 stomp against Mannfred and 1 against the unit. Against Mannfred, no wound. Against the skeleton, no wound. Alright, well, this may be the first one that... Oh no. Yeah, they both have a banner. So the Demogryphs win by 1 this time. Which is still enough to get rid of another skeleton due to unstable. And now this massive scrum here. So this has got the Terrorgeist, the skeletons, the swordsmen, and the knights. And first of all, both the swordsmen and the knights have to test for fear. Due to Lambert, they both get a reroll on this. So these knights are testing on a 9, and the swordsmen are testing on an 8 from Craft. Knights, they pass. Swordsmen, they pass. We have the ongoing challenge between Lambert and the skeleton champion. Lambert's attacks. Only 1 hit. No wound. His horse, no hit. Skeleton, no hits. Loeb against the Terrorgeist. Only 1 hit. No wound. And both Kraft and the Swordsman Champion have initiative 4, so they strike next, and they're both going for ordinary skeletons. And they have Hatred, meaning they reroll misses, which there are none. So both Kraft's attacks manage to wound, and neither is saved. 2 skeletons destroyed. 2 Swordsman Champ. 1 hit, but reroll the miss. 2 hit. 1 wound, not saved. And now the rest of the swordsmen, the knights and the spearmen, and the Terrorgeist and their horses all attack at once. I think for convenience I'll just go like Terrorgeist across. Terrorgeist attacking the unit of knights. 3 hits. 2 wounds. 1 save passed, 1 failed, so the Terrorgeist kills and eats a knight. And because it's, sort of skeletal, I imagine the knight just sort of falls out underneath it and is absolutely horrifying to behold. But because it's simultaneous, I'll leave him there just to keep track. Loeb's horse against the Terrorgeist, miss. 3 horses against the skeletons, 2 hit, no wound. 6 knight attacks, because he's still hitting with this, against the skeletons. 4 hit, 3 wound, no saves. I rolled a parry, but they've got spears, so they don't actually get a parry, so that's 3 dead. Including the 3 dead ones, because of initiative. 11 attacks against the knights. Awful. Only 3 hits. What is wrong with the skeletons this turn? 3 wounds, though. All saved. 3 skeletons against the swordsmen, because they can't support sideways. 1 wound. Saved. 8 swordsmen, including the support, against the skeletons. 4, and they get the reroll because of hatred, giving them an extra 1. 2 wounds, both saved. Well, that was a devastating combat for the skeletons. So they lose the combat. Let's see, they definitely lose the combat. Banner on each side. They have an extra 3 for ranks. So they have an extra... Oh, they actually get 2 for ranks. So they lose the combat by 8. And this is where it is really devastating, because unstable affects every unit on the losing side. So the 8 wounds that they lost by are not split, they are gone from both. So the Terrorgeist loses all 4 of its remaining wounds, and 8 skeletons. I almost said it wrong just then. 8 skeletons are removed, and in return they lost a single knight. That is pretty damning. They are going to try and reform amid defeat, but they're testing on the skeleton leadership of 3, so it's very unlikely. No. So they are stuck in this terrible formation as they get defeated further and further. I really feel I sort of overestimated skeletons in this. Like, I put Mannfred with them thinking, oh yeah, he'll make up for the fact that they're skeletons. But no, it seems he doesn't. Skeletons are bad. I guess that's why they get so many, like, augments to improve their killing ability. I perhaps should have been using them. Anyway, we go into Vampire turn 5. First off, charging here. They are easily within the minimum, or, the minimum plus 2. So they can just move straight up. Oh, look, Yuri and Mannfred are just face to face, and it's like, I'm not going to do the accent. Hello, Master. Hello. Just... I'm here for you, Master. Shut up. Now the zombies are out of the fungus forest, so I can just reform those to face this way. But they can't do anything else, and that is all of the units. Wildwood, we still have these 3 units, so knights, skeletons, and swordsmen. Knights first on a 4+. They're fine. Skeletons. They're fine. Swordsmen. They are not fine, so they take D6, they take 1, again, 1, strength 4 hit, which wounds, and is not saved, so they actually lose somebody to the wood. And again, none of these 3 units are majoritarily in the Mist Wreath Swamp, so they are all fine. Magic. Mannfred is going to reroll the 2 into a 3, so 9 plus the 1 he got for his Sword of Unholy Power gives them a total of 10. Craft doesn't channel. The vampires do not channel. Mannfred is going to start with Hellish Vigor on an 8. Oh wow, he actually got a -1. Sorry, a double 1, which means broken concentration. Oh wow, that is the worst thing that could have happened, because that means Mannfred can't cast any more spells this turn. That was the first of 4 spells he was going to cast. Yikes. Okay, damn. Interesting, the way broken concentration is phrased is if the total of the natural dice rolls is 1 or 2, then this happens. So if you put in 3 or more dice, you are guaranteed not to break your concentration. That is a good tip that I will not forget in the future. All right. In that case, Yuri is going to cast not broken concentration, Hellish Vigor on 3. 5 plus his thing, 7. That is poor. They're going to put in 3 to dispel, which they easily do. I say easily, they beat it by 1, but still, that's enough. And Yuri's going to put 5 dice into Invocation of Nehek, which, that is going to be very difficult for them to dispel. 20 plus is level 22. Going to try on 3, just in case they get a double 6, which they do not. So Invocation of Nehek passes. And due to Curse of Undeath and a vampire spell passing, Mannfred regains the wound he lost. Oh, I totally forgot to use the banner. Yuri is carrying the Banner of the Barrows, which gives Graveguard in his unit +1 to hit. I think I forgot to give him that. Anyway, both the Skeletons and the Graveguard regain D6 plus 2 wounds, 4 wounds. The Graveguard, I had to make sure that they had actually lost that many, and the Skeletons, who have definitely lost that many. They actually get a whole extra rank from that. Okay, turns out remains in play spells you can actually dispel on your opponent's turn. So the Empire could have chosen to use some of their dice to try and get rid of this. I mean, it doesn't matter in this case because they're definitely not going to rally from this. They'd need a double 1 due to how many losses they've had. But in the future, I will try and remember that remains in play spells don't need to be dispelled on your own turn. And as the magic phase comes to an end, the spearmen now take a wound on a 4+. That is the champion and 8 ordinaries. Oh, hang on, they broke. So their banner's gone. Make that 7 ordinaries, because they broke from combat. Champion takes a wound. 7 others, 4 more wounds. So there are only 3 left in the unit. The only shooting unit is now gone, so we just go straight to combat. I think I'll do this one first, get it out the way. And these guys actually get to do a combat reform amid victory, so I'm going to move them over just to get Loeb into the combat, because he was technically not in contact, I think. Or he might have been. Anyway, either way. The challenge goes on between Lambert and the champion. But first, fear. 9 for the knights. They fail, but they get a reroll. And they pass. And then 8 for the others. They fail, but they get a reroll. And they fail again. So, the swordsmen are on a weapon skill of 1 for this round. None of Lambert's attacks hit. That's poor. But his horse does. No wound. One of the champion's attacks hits. No wound. Loeb's attacks. 2 hit. 2 wound. No saves. 4 horses. 2 hit. 1 wound. No save. 5 knights. 3 hit. Only 1 wound. Saved. Only 4 skeletons can actually attack because these are blocked by Lambert. 2 hit. 2 wound. Both saved. Because of make way, Kraft is going to move to here, and I forgot that him and the swordsman should actually strike before the skeletons. Kraft, only 1 hit. Sorry, that should have only hit on a 4, so because they've got weapon skill 1, so that is no hits at all from Kraft. And their hatred is gone now. And the champion, 1 hit. 1 wound, no save. 2 skeletons against the swordsman, 1 hit. 1 wound, no save. No parry. 6 swordsmen. 2 hits. No wounds. Banner on each side and 3 ranks. But, oh. No, they only have 4 now, so they don't get any for ranks. So, the skeletons lose by 7. Which means the swordsmen have to move up in order to stay in contact. Because this unit is now getting very, very small. And now up here. They have 2 to begin with, 1 for the charge, 1 for the flank, and Mannfred strikes first. 4 hits, 2 wounds, 1 save. Killing the musician. So it's just the standard bearer left now. Next is Yuri. 3 hits, 2 wounds, only 1 save. The Demogryph literally can't kill Mannfred. He doesn't have enough attacks, so he's going to go for the skeletons in hopes of winning the combat somehow. 3 attacks, 2 hit, 2 wound, no saves. The knight strikes at the same time as the Graveguard, but I'll do the knight first. No hit. 15 Graveguard because they have a horde, so they get an extra rank, and the champion. Their killing blow doesn't have any effect because it's monstrous cavalry. However, they do have +1 to hit, meaning they're hitting on 3s. From the Banner of the Barrows, 10 hits. I think I really like Graveguard. I think they... yeah, 5 wounds. I think they're the missing piece, and I was treating skeletons like I should have been treating Graveguard. That said, they still have a 2+ armor save. But 1 fails. He is still alive, but barely. And then 9 skeleton attacks. 4 hit. 2 wound. Oh, he got a 1. He failed it. He's dead. Doesn't even get a chance to stomp. Which, you know, wouldn't have won the combat, but would have chipped away a little bit more. So they defeat that. They are going to reform to face this way, and Mannfred is going to stay where he is. Neither of them are still within this. Oh, hang on. It is still difficult terrain, isn't it? So actually they should have tested as they went in. So they were like that. I'm going to say 11. So these 3x3 and then those two. So that's Yuri and 10 ordinary Graveguard. Yuri, fine. Graveguard, 2 fail. Wouldn't have affected the combat because they have so many that those two didn't actually fight. But yes, they're going to reform to there. And that is the end of Vampire Turn 5. Empire Turn 5 now. Got to test these guys, and because they are reduced to far below the 25% mark of their starting numbers, they can only succeed on a double 1, which they do not get. I mean, they get half of the double 1, but they do not get it, which means they flee a further 4 inches. Just across the board. And that is all the movement I'm doing, because everything else is gonna shoot or is tied up in combat. Magic. 8. Channeling 1 for the Empire. Channeling 2 for the vampires. No. It really doesn't matter if I get rid of Curse of Years. At this point, you know, they're definitely dead one way or another, so I'm just going to focus entirely on craft. And I'm going to put 6 dice into Hammer of Sigma. Needs a 3, 13, but the question is more, can they dispel it on 4 dice? I mean, Mannfred gets a +4 to it because of his wizard level. So yes, they can. Yeah, they've got like no chance of actually getting a spell through now. I guess that is a reason why battle prayers, another reason why battle prayers should be multiple, you can cast in a single turn, because then rather than having like one do or die spell that can easily be dispelled considering they don't have a wizard level, instead you have 3 spells that you can cast, and then you've got sort of multiple chances of actually getting one through because they have to split their dispel dice. So yeah, that's definitely how I'm going to rule it in the future. Shooting, the only chance they have of doing anything whatsoever. And, ooh, do I shoot at Mannfred's small unit or the massive unit of Graveguard? I'm thinking the skeletons, because it's unlikely we're going to do much with the Graveguard and they're not going to be able to do much either. But if we can wipe out the skeletons, we have a chance, an outside possibility of hurting Mannfred. So let's Hellblast at the skeletons. 14 halved because of the misfire to 7. They are over half range, so only 1 hits. It's a wound and they don't get a save against it, but that is pitiful compared to what I was hoping for. The handgunners can all shoot at the Graveguard, but some of them are going to be shooting through cover because, like this guy, I don't think he would class as in the cover. Whereas like these other ones can draw a line of sight without going through it, that guy definitely can't. So these 2 are counted as, actually these 3 are counted as in this cover. He is not, so he will actually get a -1. They are all at long range, 9 of them first, 4 hits, and the last guy through the cover also hit, 5 total. 2 wounds, 1 save. So only 1 Graveguard gone. And the mortar, I would say, can also see past the zombies. You know, shooting through the trees can definitely see them. Yep, that can see a clear line of sight to the template. So that will now scatter. I feel the scatter dice didn't roll properly. It just did the thing where it just spins, as they sometimes do, and it's really annoying, so yeah, sorry, I'm just going to make sure, because, yeah, it's the downside of this, it doesn't always spin it properly, and it to be honest, it's the same sometimes when you do other manual rolling like this, and it's why I prefer these, because they spawn it in, and therefore it's always coming in at a random number, so even if it does just spin, you know, around like that, it's doing that on a random number, so it's still fair. But anyway, it goes 8 inches this way to there. So that actually clips Yuri. Ooh, Yuri, 10 Graveguard, and 2 skeletons. Yuri, all at strength 2, nothing. 10 Graveguard, 2 wounds, both saved. It's armor piercing, actually, the mortar, so only one of those saved, because it would reduce it to a 5+, so 1 more Graveguard gone. And 2 skeletons, one of which is the champion. Champion. Nothing. Ordinary. Nothing. Combat. Let's see if they can finally kill these skeletons. Testing for fear. Loeb's unit on a 9. Pass. Swordsman on an 8. Pass. Lambert's challenge. Only 1 hit. Wound, though? Oh, he finally kills him. God, it's taken Lambert like 3 turns of combat to kill an ordinary champion in a challenge. Then Loeb. Only 1 hit. No wound, come on. Croft is going to make way again to put him there, so he can actually fight. And he goes next, as does the champion. Croft. Oh, 1 hit. No wound. Champion. 1 hit. A wound. Saved. Come on. 4 horses. 3 hit. 2 wound. 1 save. 1 dead. 5 knights. 4 hit. Only 1 wound. Saved. Because they struck at the same time. 4 skeletons against the knights. 2 hit. No wounds. 1 skeleton against the swordsman. Screw it. 1 skeleton against Craft. Why not? Miss anyway. 4 ordinary swordsmen. 4 hits. 3 wounds. 2 saved. Wow. Only 1 more dead. Bloody hell. Like, this unit is holding on so much. Like, an insane amount that this unit is holding on. Banner on each side. They get +3. I mean, it's gone now because, yeah, it lost the combat by 7. But that is crazy. Like, the big downside I'm seeing with the strategic play of holding on and not charging into the, like, the melee-focused army is when you do get into combat, you only have a few turns. Like, we're on turn 5 now. No way are these guys going to be able to reach anyone to do anything else this game. So, yeah, like, if you are going to wait, you have to commit and succeed. Like, the knights got just blindsided, and then they were just stuck here for the entire game. And all they did was take out a single... I mean, they took out the Terrorgeist as well, but they took out a single unit of core troops and a monster, and that's all they did this game, because they didn't even wait. They were just stuck here. But the swordsmen, they just waited, and this is all they did. And we go into Sylvania Turn 6, the final turn of the game. Let's do some charges. The zombies are going to just charge the mortar. It doesn't really matter because these don't do combat the same way, but yeah, we'll just do it like this. The Graveguard are going to charge the Hellblaster, not the Spearmen, because they're already fleeing and unlikely to rally. So they're 9, so minus the 4, they need a 5 to charge, which they get. So they... Ooh, I'm not sure they can actually reach it. Oh no, they can if they move over to here. Which would actually... hang on. Which does actually put them into these mysterious woods. We do get to find out what they are. They are 5. A Venom Thicket. A model inside has poisoned attacks, which has no bearing on the fight. And any model moving through must take a dangerous terrain. So, I mean, they'd take that from charging anyway, so it looks like this, I'm going to say this last rank, so Yuri and 2 Guard have to take dangerous terrain for charging through the woods. Yuri is fine. Graveguard, 1 is gone. Sorry, I forgot there was a back rank. Yeah, that's an additional 2 who have actually charged through it. So, actually, maybe a bit more than that. Yeah, I'm going to say it's this rank as well, so that's an additional 7. It's unlikely to really make much difference, so 2 more dead. Mannfred's unit is going to move out of this, which has... they're going to move 4, which has these 6 moving through dangerous terrain. Probably these 2 as well, actually. Mannfred, fine. Champion, fine. 6 ordinaries, 2 are gone. And the only reason I did that was this gets him within the 6 inches if he wants to do a basic invocation, just to get the Graveguard in there. I think Mannfred got a wound, and I forgot to mark it because of his sword. 9, I don't think I will re-roll either of them. Channeling Craft? Nope. Channeling Vampires? Nope. but I'm fairly sure Mannfred got a wound on the Demogryph, so I'll put that up to 10 because of his sword. Mannfred is going to start by using Raise Dead again, and it's worth noting that it is not a Remains in Play spell, so he's already used it once. Normally you can't reuse a Remains in Play. This is not classed as one, so you can just keep raising more units. So he's going to use 3 dice, needs a 9, gets the 9 on its own plus the 4 for his level, so 13. Are they going to try and dispel it? Probably not, because what could it do, really? So they're going to let it pass, which means 2d6 plus 3. Oh wow, only 6. Oh well, does the job. 6 zombies appear. I'm not even going to bother getting them a thing because this is the last turn. But the reason he's doing this is he's just placing them here. Because there are these handgunners, he knows there are handgunners there, and this way they can't shoot at his unit, because there are now zombies in the way. And now Yuri is going to cast a slightly upcast invocation with a range of 12, which means he needs 12 to do it. He's going to use 4 dice, 18 with his level, so that is success. It's whether they're going to try and dispel it. Yeah, alright, I think they're going to put all in to try and dispel that. 14, they don't manage to dispel it even with all of their dice. Yikes. That means the Graveguard, the zombies and the skeletons all regain d6 plus 2. Sorry, I rolled 2 dice there, should have been 1. 4. There's 1 more on that rank and then 3 more, so that has completely replenished the losses from the dangerous terrain. And the reason I'm doing this is to try and get Mannfred's unit back over the, what was it, I think it was 50%, which awards 50% of the victory points for it. And bearing that in mind, Mannfred is also going to cast Invocation, but on, sorry, 4 zombies as well. Oh no, they're newly dead, so they actually get an additional d6. They get an extra 5. So yeah, that blocking unit is getting pretty big now. But yes, Mannfred is also going to cast Invocation using the last 3 dice. Needs a 6, which he easily gets. They don't have any Dispel left because they used all of them. So that means the Graveguard, which is just within the 6 inches. Oh, I mean, definitely within the 6 inches now. But yes, all 3 of these, again, regain, but d6 plus 4 because of his wizard level, which is 9 more. And I believe that is actually all of the Graveguard. I can't see any more Graveguard in here among the dead. So they only get 7 back because they cannot be increased above their starting. So yeah, I think that is the entire thing of Graveguard back to full strength. And the skeletons are also looking pretty healthy again. And the zombies get an additional d6. They get another 6 more, so they get a total of 15. I don't actually know if you can add additional rows onto this, so I'm going to say the rest of these are just wasted because it doesn't really matter at this point and it's not worth looking it up. No shooting, so straight into the 2 combats against the war machines. The mortar crew strike first, because zombies have always strike last. 2 hit. No wound. I forgot to do their fear. 7, they pass. Due to the way war machine close combat works, only 6 zombies can actually attack, although bloody hell, on a 5+, 5 of them hit. 3 wounds, and with no saves, that is all 3 of the crew dead. Normally I'd leave that on there, but they are going to overrun, so they overrun, I believe, 2d6, so that's another 7 inches, so they just move down past here. And the handgunners, I'm fairly sure, I forgot to do it again, are going to have to test, because they are within 6 inches, so on a 7, they pass. Yuri's going to move, so he's one of the 6 in this fight, and he goes first. Oh yeah, and they have to test, they get -1, so they're testing on a 6, and which they do pass, but they do have to re-roll because of his thing, so testing on a 6, they pass that again. Not that it matters, because Yuri just got 3 hits. And only 2 wounds, so actually 1 does survive for now. You know, for the brief moment. And he strikes simultaneously with the Graveguard, so I'll do that poor unfortunate guy screaming at the Graveguard. Miss. Oh well. 6 Graveguard attacks back for the 5 ordinary guys, an additional 1 for the champion. 3 hit. And his head gets chopped off with a killing blow. So that is the Hellblaster volley gun also destroyed. And the only unit within 6 inches is already fleeing. Oh, and I forgot to do the Curse of Years on a 3+. Or did I do that? No, I don't think I did. So they die on a 3+. Oh, never mind, they're all dead from Curse of Years. Okay. And the Graveguard will reform to face this way. As we go into the final Empire turn, the final turn of the game, is there much point doing anything here? Basically, no. I don't think either of these can... Alright, the Knights are going to back up. Can they even back up far enough? Yeah, they can back up far enough. So they are now out of both of the woods. The Swordsmen can't. They're too deeply entrenched, so they're going to be hit by the woods regardless of what they do. The Handgunners, they can only shoot the zombies, but to be honest, it's not really worth doing because they are worth absolutely no victory points. Do we have any line of sight on those skeletons? Can they shoot past? They actually can. So the zombies were too far over because the skeleton unit got bigger. So I will do that just to see if the skeletons get taken under the half, but there is no point doing anything else. So the Wildwood roll against the swordsman, sorry. Yes, it does hit them. And it does d6, 3 strength 4 hits, 2 wound, both saved. Wow, okay. Skipping straight ahead to the shooting, the only thing left to happen is how many of these can see? 3. Yes, he can hit the base. So 4. Ooh. Yeah. 5. 6. No, I'm going to say that's a miss because it's the very, very back of the base. Like, line of sight wise, it didn't really work. So that is 6 handgunners. Despite the zombie blockade, 6 handgunners can still draw line of sight to skeletons. However, I will say that 2 of them are going... Ooh, maybe not. No. Okay, that one's fine. But this guy definitely is. He's definitely having to go through the wood. So 5 are shooting at just long range, 1 also through the wood. 5, 1 hit, through the wood, no. So the 1 hit does not wound. Well, it was worth a try. Like, I don't know how close this is to the 50%, but there was a possibility that could have taken it under and it would have been worth it. Anyway, that is the end of the game. This was an interesting one with the weighting, meaning that the units basically only did one thing each. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I still really like the big armies clashing, surging forward and clashing in big melees that have impact on the other parts of the game. I agree that standing back and shooting is more tactically viable in some circumstances, but it does create, I don't know, maybe a slightly less interesting game in my opinion. I don't know. Mannfred's force started off with 171 and was left with 111, though admittedly 38 of those remaining ones are zombies that didn't exist at the start. Volkmar's army had 149 and is left with only 64. Also, I've just realised a mistake I made. The demogryphs, I actually gave them halberds, which meant that they had +1 strength, but didn't have a shield, whereas I went through the entire thing assuming they had hand weapons, so I gave them the shield for the armor save and not the +1 strength. So I'd say that sort of balances out, but that was an error that I just wanted to quickly address. Sylvania, with Dead or Fled, counting half destroyed units as worth half points, scored 1,446. They also get 100 for the General and 50 for 2 Seas Standards, giving them a total of 1,596 points. And the Empire, with Dead or Fled, get 992, including Mannfred's unit, by the way, that was reduced under half. They also get 1 Sea Standard, 25 points, for a total of 1,017. So at the end of the match, Sylvania win by 579 points, and for a 2,500 point game, that makes this a solid victory for Sylvania. And with that, we conclude the 3rd round of battle, so the next episode will be the round 4 campaign map, and we will see how this has affected the campaign. It was incredibly unfortunate that Volkmar fled. I didn't see the potential risk of him fleeing. I thought it would the Doom and Darkness would just affect his ability to support others. I didn't actually think that he would himself flee. So in the future, I'm going to be a lot more worried about letting Doom and Darkness through. So let me know in the comments what you thought of the game, if you have any tips or tricks, suggestions for how I can play a specific army better. This game has taken me 7.5 hours to record over 3 separate sessions. This was a huge match, probably the biggest I've ever played. So I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, we'll see what comes next. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more board games, card games, miniatures like this, and TTRPGs, and I will catch you later.